and welcome to the Habits and Home Show. I'm your host, Lisa Lazat, and I help busy moms bring order to their homes by downsizing and decluttering and ditching old habits in exchange for systems that bring peace and more enjoyment to their lives. If you're a mom trying to show the love of Jesus to your family, but the clutter in your home keeps you overwhelmed and frustrated, you have come to the right place. On this podcast, you will hear easy, step-by-step tips to declutter and create systems so you can keep your home organized and finally walk in the peace God has promised you. Need some accountability? I've got you covered there too. Join the Accountability Club, a community of like-minded mamas decluttering and systemizing our homes together. Are you ready, friend? Let's get started. Hey friends, and welcome to the show. Today, we're going to talk about how hoarding is not being a good steward of what God has entrusted you with. Now, if you've called yourself a hoarder in the past, I know that you do not mean to hoard things. Sometimes you hold on to things out of fear, maybe it's out of guilt, or maybe it's just out of habit. But when our homes feel heavy, cluttered, and chaotic, it's often because we're holding on to things that were never meant to stay for too long. Anytime I think about stewarding what God has entrusted me with well, I always think back to the parable of the talents found in Matthew 25, and that's what we're going to study today. Because I believe this parable isn't just about money, but that it can be a powerful reminder that we are managers, not owners, of the things in our lives. God is the master. He entrusted us with resources, our time, our energy, and yes, even our stuff. And He is asking us to be good stewards of what we've been given. So today, I'm going to read to you the parable from Matthew 25. Now, you can follow along in your Bible if you feel inclined to do so, or as always, you can just use this time to do something productive in your home. We're going to start in verse 14. For it is just like a man going on a journey. He called his own slaves and turned over his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his own ability. Now I want you to remember that. Each according to his own ability. Then he went on a journey. Immediately, the man who had received 5 talents went, put them to work, and earned 5 more. In the same way, the man with 2 earned 2 more. You see, they had a unique ability that where he knew to give them 5 and 2, that they could handle that much. We're going to keep going. But the man who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 talents approached, presented his 5 more talents, and said, "Master, you gave me 5 talents. Look, I've earned 5 more talents for you." His master said to him, "Well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful over a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Share your master's joy." Then the man who had 2 talents also approached, and he said, "Master, you gave me 2 talents. Look, I've earned 2 more for you." His master said to him as well, "Well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful over a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Share in your master's joy." Then the man who had received 1 talent approached and said, "Master, I know you. You are a difficult man." The audacity for him to say that, right? "You are a difficult man, reaping where you haven't sown and gathering where you haven't scattered seed. So I was afraid and went off and hid your talent in the ground. Look, you have what is yours." But his master replied to him, "You evil, lazy slave. You know that I reap where I haven't sown and gather where I haven't scattered. then you should have deposited my money with the bankers. And when I returned, I would have received my money back with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have more than enough. But from the one who does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. And throw this good-for-nothing slave into the outer darkness, into that place where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, so let's break this down. Let's break this scripture down into 5 takeaways, shall we? Okay. Number 1, we are all given something to manage. In verse 14 and 15, it says, he called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. Every single one of us has been entrusted with something. Maybe it is a tiny apartment. Maybe it's a 4-bedroom house that feels like it's busting at the seams. Maybe it's a busy household with little ones running around everywhere. Or maybe it's a quieter home with just you and your husband. Whatever that looks like, God isn't asking you to manage someone else's life or someone else's home. He's simply asking you to be faithful for what he has placed in your hands. It's so easy to slip into comparison mode, right? Especially when you scroll Instagram or watch those perfectly curated YouTube videos, but God isn't measuring you against anyone else. He's not looking to see if your home matches someone else's highlight reel. He's not doing that. He's only looking at your heart and he's asking, are you, insert your name, being faithful with what I have given you? So when you sit in your kitchen or you walk through your garage, I want you to take a deep breath and I want you to ask yourself, what has God entrusted to me? Look at all these things. What has God entrusted to me? And ask yourself, am I managing it well? You know, that broken blender you've been holding on to for 3 years and you're hoping to fix it someday? What about those jeans you've tucked away, thinking maybe you'll find them again, but dreading the guilt every time you see them? The bins marked miscellaneous shoved in a corner of your garage, gathering dust because you don't even remember what's inside of them anymore, right? Are those things really helping you steward your home with purpose? Or are they quietly weighing you down and stealing your peace? Faithful stewardship sometimes means letting go. It means clearing out what no longer serves a real purpose so you can fully enjoy and care for what does. It means remembering that everything in our home either supports the life God is calling us to or distracts us from it, right? Now, you don't have to get it perfect. You don't, right? You just have to get started. You have to get started with a heart that is longing to honor God and not just manage stuff. Number 2, the faithful servants multiplied what they were given. In verse 16 and 17, it said, the man who had received 5 bags of gold went out at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more bags. The faithful servants didn't just sit on what they were given. They didn't tuck it away in a closet. They didn't forget about it, or they didn't cling to it out of fear. They didn't have closed fists, right? They put it to work. They used it. They multiplied it. I remember when I've worked with clients in person to declutter their home, it is so common for us to come across things they forgot they even owned, right? We'll open a cabinet or we'll pull out a bin and they'll say, "Oh, I totally forgot I had this." And I get it. Life is busy. Things pile up. We put stuff away for later, but later never comes. When things are tucked away and unused, they aren't blessing anyone. They're just taking up space, both physically and mentally. The faithful servants in the parable show us a different way. They didn't hoard what they were given. They didn't let it sit idle. They actively used what they had to create more good. In your home, multiplying what you've been given might look like this: letting go of what you're not using so you can actually enjoy and appreciate what you do use. It might look like passing things on to others who truly need them instead of letting them gather dust in your home. It also might look like setting up your home in a way that blesses your family, making it like a more peaceful place of comfort and joy rather than clutter and stress. Being a good steward isn't about keeping everything for just in case. It's about being intentional with what you have. It's about asking God, how can I use what you've entrusted me with to serve my family, my friends, and even strangers? When we live in this way, decluttering isn't just about making our homes look nicer, prettier. It becomes a way to multiply the goodness God has placed in our lives. Number 3, the fearful servant buried his talent. Verse 18 says, "But the man who had received one bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money." This is the part that hits me the hardest. The servant didn't waste the money. He didn't spend it recklessly. He simply didn't do anything with it. And how often do we do the same thing without even realizing it? We don't mean to waste what we have. We just get scared. We bury our stuff, not in the ground like the servant did, but in closets, basements, spare bedrooms, and even our garages. We hold on to clothes that don't fit anymore. Kitchen gadgets we forgot we even bought. Sentimental trinkets we don't know what to do with. And sometimes it's not even the stuff we've used. It's the Amazon boxes we've never opened or the shopping bags that are still sitting by the door because we never put those things away. It's not because we're selfish. It's because we're scared. We're scared we'll need it someday. We're scared we'll regret letting it go. We're scared to face the emotions tied to certain items because of guilt and grief, anxiety, and the disappointment we might feel. But fear is not a good manager. Fear keeps us stuck. And clutter, both physically and emotional, thrives in your stuck places. I've seen it over and over again when decluttering with clients in their home. We open up closets and storage bins and find things they didn't even remember buying. Things that were hidden away, not because they were needed, but because it felt too overwhelming to deal with it in the moment. The truth is, God didn't bless us with our homes and our belongings so that we could live buried under mountains of stuff. He didn't call us to a life of fear and hoarding. He called us to a life of freedom and of stewardship and trust. When we bury what we've been given out of fear, out of procrastination, out of distraction, we miss out on the fruit that comes from faithful, intentional living. We are called to use what we have well, not to hide it away. Number 4, faithfulness versus fear. In verse 21, we hear the words we all long to hear one day. "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's joy." But just a few verses later, in verse 26, the tone shifts very sharply. He says, "You wicked, lazy servant." Man, that is a strong contrast. One group is rewarded not because they brought back the biggest return, but because they were faithful with what they were given. The other group is rebuked, not because they lost the money, but because he let fear and laziness stop him from doing anything at all. It wasn't about the results, y'all. It was about the heart posture. And it's the same with us. God isn't sitting in heaven keeping a tally of how many bags we donate to Goodwill or how perfectly organized our pantry looks, right? He isn't asking us to have an Instagram-worthy minimalist home. He is not looking for perfection. He's looking for faithfulness. He's asking, are you managing what you have with care and purpose? Are you willing to let go of what you don't need so you can better serve Him and your family? Are you living open-handed, trusting Him to provide instead of clinging on to clutter for just in case? When we manage our homes out of fear, fear of letting go, fear of scarcity, fear of regret, we end up buried under the very things that were meant to bless us. But when we manage our homes with trust and obedience, when we see our stuff through the lens of stewardship, we hear a much different voice. We hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Faithfulness doesn't mean you'll never struggle. It doesn't mean you'll never feel the pull to keep something just in case. It simply means you're willing to keep showing up. Keep letting go and keep trusting God with your home, your possessions, and your heart. Because at the end of the day, that's what stewardship really is. Living like everything we have belongs to Him. Because ultimately, it truly does. Number 5, stewardship means using, not storing. In verse 28, the Master says, "Take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags." That might sound harsh at first, but it shows us something really important. God doesn't give us resources so they can sit in storage. He gives them to us to be used, to meet needs, to serve others, to build His kingdom, and to lighten the load in our homes and our hearts. When we hoard stuff, thinking we're being wise or prepared, we actually miss out. We miss the chance to bless someone else who could use what's just sitting in our closets. We miss the chance to create peaceful, welcoming spaces in our homes. And we miss the growth that happens when we practice trust and open-handedness with our belongings. I have worked with so many clients holding on to boxes and boxes of stuff, not because they feel like they need it, but because they're afraid to let it go. And all of that just in case clutter, it didn't add to their life. It just continued to weigh them down. The act of decluttering is an act of faith. It's saying, "God, I trust that you are my provider. Not this random box of wires that I might need someday. I trust that you will equip me for what's ahead. And I don't have to cling to the things from my past." When we use what we've been given, whether that's a cozy home, a simple wardrobe, or even just a clear countertop, we are living out our calling as stewards. We are honoring God, not by storing everything, but by trusting Him enough to release what no longer serves a purpose. Because God can do so much more with hands that are open than through closets that are stuffed shut. Y'all, that is good stuff to me. Okay, so I'll wrap up with this. You don't have to overhaul your entire house today. You don't have to tackle every closet, every drawer, or every pile of paper all at once. You just need to take one small, faithful step in the right direction. I want you to ask God, "Lord, what am I holding on to that you're asking me to release?" Or maybe you don't even have to ask Him, because deep down, you already know. You're tired of the clutter. You're tired of feeling stuck, you're tired of being lazy about it, and you're ready to just start getting rid of stuff because you know what you've been hoarding for far too long. And that's okay too. Sometimes the Holy Spirit gives us a holy nudge, and sometimes it's just pure exhaustion from living buried under stuff that pushes us to finally take action. Now, keep in mind, decluttering is not going to be a perfect path. I just shared in my accountability club that I was decluttering and resetting my bedroom, and I shared a picture, a real life picture, and it looked like a bigger mess than when I started. Nobody is handing out gold stars for your decluttering. Nobody is going to give you the award for the most organized closet. Faithfulness is the goal, not perfection. Friend, you were never meant to manage your home in fear. You were created to live freely, to live lightly, and to live purposefully. You're not supposed to be chained down to clutter, and you're not supposed to be stuck in shame and regret. But I want you to live open-handed, ready to bless others, ready to receive from God, and ready to live the abundant life He is offering. So the next time fear or guilt creeps in while you're sorting through your stuff, the next time you're tempted to shove it back into the drawer or a box and forget about it, I want you to pause and remember the parable of the talents. God hasn't called us to hoard treasures for someday. He's called us to steward what He's entrusted to us today, to use it, to bless others with it, and to trust Him to provide whatever we truly need. Now, if you need support along the way, I'm right here beside you. We can work one-on-one, or you can join us inside the Accountability Club in our group program. All right, sweet friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode and you take from this the memory of the parable of the talents and how we are supposed to be good stewards of what God has entrusted us with. All right, I will see you right here next time on the Habits and Home Show. Hey friend, before you go, I wanted to tell you more about the Accountability Club. Each month, we'll tackle a new space in our homes and work together to declutter and set up systems so we can easily maintain order without getting overwhelmed. You'll get a new decluttering tutorial each month, the coaching and accountability you need to actually follow through, and encouragement without judgment from other Christian moms in a safe environment. And guess what? The entire club is off of social media, so you don't have to worry about distractions the world may throw at you. Sweet friend, if you're feeling stuck in your decluttering journey, this is the place for you. Click the link below to try out the Accountability Club and start decluttering today.